Yeah, I know, I suck at vlogging, so here I am to explain things. So, day one, we got myself, Casey Cooper, Adam Tumanaro, Beats by Jay Black, and David Cola up in the silent rhythm room. We have all sorts of E-kits to play, there's a Picl Mallet station, and Jimmy's on his MPC, and we kind of just sat down and started playing.
I think you're doing great things over there, David.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
I can't shed like y'all, so I got that.
Like y'all. I mean, I'm over here in the same boat.
Before we get to the drums, the guys at Universal Audio use this mic, the Townsend Lab Sphere L22 modeling mic, and asked us to play 4 different takes, and then they mix them with 4 of their different preamp plugins. Personally, I like the Neve mixes the best, and let me go to my notes real quick, which were mixed with the Neve 88RS channel strips, vintage Neve 1084 EQs, 2254 and 33609 compressors, and a little bit of AMS RMX reverb was added for some ambience. And you thought drum terms were confusing. Just launch myself down.
Yeah, full side, full side.
So, also, that kit was a Picl Masters Maple Gum, and it sounded so good that I stole the tuning of it and replicated it on this kit. I have a full video about that, which I'll link to down below, but before we played on that kit, Mike Mangini played on it, and the guys at Shure were cool enough to let me sneak in and watch. This is Gearfest after all, so here's some pretty rad gear that caught my attention. First, from Roland, I'm not a huge electronics guy, but these cymbals were so cool, you just touch them and they mute. Something so simple yet so crazy. The snare we use on that Masters kit was the new Matt McGuire signature snare, which has 30 air vents on it, and I thought it would be a little bit too dry for my liking with that many vents, but honestly, it's a killer drum. I might need to do a video where I put like 700 air vents on a drum now. Evans has these low volume cymbals and drum heads, and that snare sound is from the head. The snares on the drum are off. They also have these EQ pods, which are sticky on one side and don't get all nasty. Revolutionary. Every drummer should know about the Sennheiser 604s at this point, but did you know that the rim clip is made to go on a mic stand as well?
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea, and honestly, it's simple stuff like that that I think is so cool. I'm a nerd, I know. Sennheiser was also cool enough to send me their MKE 440 stereo mic for my camera right before Gearfest, and honestly I was a little bit nervous using it because it's a new mic and I've never really tried it before, but I gotta say it was perfect for the on-the-go atmosphere of Gearfest, and the fact that it's stereo is even cooler. Speaking of mics, here are some big boy mics. I've been lusting over a Neumann U47 FET for a while now, and this was the first time I had seen one in person, so it was a special moment for me. Yamaha recently came out with the silicone drum heads for their electronic kits, and after playing on them, I gotta say that these feel the most like acoustic drums, and they're like a good in-between of mesh heads and like the rubber pads. So if I had to play an electronic kit for the rest of my life, it would probably have these heads on it.
Hey David, that one has your face on it.
Reproducing the space, but it's not like I'm not putting it specifically in that speaker.
Okay, so Dolby Atmos. This is like the craziest listening experience I've ever had. Imagine surround sound, but actually surround sound. There's sound surrounding you. Casey's doing a video where he recorded a drum set with like 1,000 different mics in the room and then mixed it in Atmos, and that's what you're hearing and seeing right now, so I'll link to that when it comes out. But camera audio just doesn't do it justice, and it's something you really have to experience in person. But while I was there, I knew I had to hear the most famous snare drum sound played on this crazy system.
I don't think Metallica's in Atmos.
Oh man.
Maybe let me go check Metallica.
Considering that Atmos is a pretty new thing, a lot of songs aren't available on it yet, or aren't mixed in Atmos rather, so Metallica, get on that. You don't need to film any of this. We talked for a bit, but he had to go throw water bottles at a cardboard cutout of Jared James Nichols at the Roadie-o Games. So Adam and I got to witness the madness of the Roadie-o Games unfold in person, and honestly it was pretty funny watching all these YouTubers do all these roadie related things, so I'll link to the full video down below. Comes out to Steven Taylor. If you know, you know. I mean, it truly wouldn't be an rdavidr video if I didn't fix at least one thing. You have a drum key? Now, if you loosen this and this, it should spin around.
Cool. Thanks for the tutorial.
Yes, more gear. This is Sweetwater after all. The Sweetwater store has a used section where you can trade in gear, and they had an old acrylite. So off to a good start. You know me and my acrylites. Wasn't expecting to see one of those. Now in the actual drum room, one of my bucket list kits to own is an old Pink Oyster Rogers, and it was really cool to see a new Ludwig Classic in a Pink Oyster finish. In Studio A, I was welcomed by a vintage Tama Superstar. That was like the last kit I expected to see at Sweetwater, but they have one. There's also a bottom reissue Vistalite, a bunch of Gretches, a super clean WFL snare, a vintage 14x8 Superstar snare, and tons of other cool vintage and modern drums, so I felt very at home in this room. Imagine that, more drums. Since it came out, I've been wanting to check out the Pearl President series, and I was really hoping they would have one of the Phenolic kits, but these are just the Luan shells, so think like OG Pearl kits and made in Japan kits, but made with modern technology and modern hardware, so you get the vintage vibes and vintage sound with the modern reliability. We also got to check out this Session Studio Select in Black Satin Ash. Disclaimer, I have zero affiliation with any drum company out there, but I truly do have a soft spot for the Session Studio Selects. You know, I really ignored Pearl for a while, but when I went to Casey's for the first time and played on his Session Studio Select, I was like, dang, I kind of need one of these now. And, well, yeah. Yeah. This is Aaron, my sales engineer. It was really cool to finally meet him in person and talk to him in person. You know, he's the one that keeps me happy whenever I buy all the random gear that I buy. And actually, his kit was featured on a video that Casey did where they rated drum sets. So Aaron, if you're watching this, you're a legend.
Just gators everywhere.
You'll see 100.
That's a big cat right there. Cameraman Bryce was able to tag along for this whole journey, and he's been looking for a new ride cymbal. I'm tired of him borrowing all of mine. So we're at Sweetwater. They probably have like 10,000 rides between their store and the warehouse, so what better place to look?
So if you could only play one ride,
One ride.
what is it?
Chevy Corvette.
All right, let's go.
I would have to go with the 23-inch K Sweet Ride. You can ding it on the bell, you can bow it on the bow, crash it on the crashy. I mean, it's a washy, beautiful, dingy thing.
That's the actual ride that I play right now.
Whoops. Second option, if you already have that, the 24-inch K Light Ride is a bad boy.
I would probably play the 22-inch Monophonic Ride from Meinl.
22K Con Overhammered. All the overtones, all the wash. Wonderful. Jazzy as it can get.
The 22-inch Byzance Foundry Reserve Light Ride for sure. The best reference that I could give you for it would be like a medium thin Constantinople, one of those. Like the multi-layered complexity, like you can almost hear every other type of cymbal built inside of it. Right. And then hand hammered too. So just knowing that like some high level like cymbal savage just sat here and actually tuned it, so you can hear that in it. I've done videos like bordering like funk fusion all the way to like heavy metal just bashing into it. So for me, it just checks all the boxes, versatility, all of that stuff. But yeah, Byzance Foundry Reserve 22 Light Ride, that's the jam. And if you don't get that, I'll be very disappointed in you.
Have you checked out the special dry line?
Funny enough, the one
It's
over
right there.
I remember hearing it because I looked at him because that's what he used.
That's what I use.
Oh, that's what you use? Yeah. I mean,
The last, like,
he
10
said it, I said it before I knew he said it.
Yeah.
So you might have something here.
Very dark. So Bryce totally ignored everyone's advice because he fell in love with a 22-inch Zildjian K-Con medium thin low. We compared the one they had set up in the store plus two others that they pulled from the warehouse. He beat on them, and then I beat on them, and there's one that caught both of our ears, so mission complete. So very last day, very last thing we did was film a video with Zack. I'll link to it down below, but honestly, it was a great way to end the trip because we got to play drums right outside, right in front of the Sweetwater sign. So major shout out to Sweetwater. This truly was an incredible experience. And if you ever get the chance to go there, like, you have to. There's so much to see and so much to do, and honestly there's times where I forgot that I was even in a music store. Everyone was super nice and super helpful. Like when Bryce was looking for his cymbal, he asked if they could pull a couple from the warehouse, and next thing you know, someone's carrying in a bag of cymbals for him. And there's a few times I got lost and people were able to help me out and point me in the right direction. So really great people, really awesome store, and truly is an incredible place. So I'll link to everybody's channel down below in case you haven't heard of them for some reason. Plus every single piece of gear that I talked about in this video, I'll link down below too.